Welcome to the Marvelous Moms Club podcast. Discover yourself, break out of mediocrity, and become the mom you've always aspired to be. Here's your host, Kirsten Tyrell.
Hey everybody, welcome to today's episode. I'm so jazzed because I'm chatting with the lovely, beautiful Al Carraway. You might have heard of her. She's written an amazing book called The Tattooed Mormon. And I'm super excited to share her story with you and also some really cool takeaways about how that's led to the type of mother that she is now, because she has adorable, adorable kids that I'm sure she's going to tell you all about. So welcome to the podcast, Al.
Hi, thanks. How are you?
I'm so good. First of all, let me just tell you how much I love your Insta stories and how every single video you're giggling and how, I told you before we got on here, sorry if I come across as a spaz on messaging, but you pretty much wouldn't care because you're always giggling too. You're always excited.
Yeah, I am always excited.
It's so cool though. So you have two kids, right?
Yeah.
Tell us their ages and their names.
So I have Gracie. She was our first. She's 2 and change. I don't know, 2 and whatever. And then I have Christian. He was born also this past summer. They were both born in June. They're about a week apart. He was born a week before her second birthday.
Oh.
So he's 7 months now.
That's
I don't
awesome.
know. Do the math. So Gracie's 2 years and 7 months. Christian, 7 months.
That's awesome. I have a June birthday. Are either one of them on the 17th?
Oh, Gracie's the 18th. Okay, you guys, June is crazy. Ben is the day before Christian. And then it's Christian the next day. And then there's Gracie. And then there's Father's Day somewhere in there. And then my head fell off and I don't know.
So June is your month. It's your lucky
June is
month.
Everyone's month but mine, I guess.
Well, when's your birthday?
September.
Okay, that's awesome. Well, at least you have a little bit of a break, and then they all get to spoil you a couple months later.
Yeah, perfect.
That's awesome. My birthday has fallen on Father's Day a few times. It's super fun.
Really?
Yes.
Yeah.
It'll happen. Okay, so tell us, I don't know how far back you want to go about your story, but
I don't know.
I don't know. However far back you want me to go.
Talk about whatever. I don't know. What do you want to talk about? We can talk about anything.
Well, I want to know really you're really, really popular on the scene because you've written this amazing book. And talk just a little bit about the experience that led up to you writing the book. You're a convert to the Mormon church, and there was just a lot of judgment that happened that kind of flew your way because why? The name of the book.
So, it was kind of crazy. I'm from New York. That's where I found out about the LDS church and I got baptized, and then my life fell apart because of it. There's a lot of good things that happened too, but life got really tricky because of it. And then I moved to Utah and things got even harder. And, that was probably 6 years ago. I moved to Utah and I wrote a book about 2 years ago. And my publishers, they came to me and they're like, do this. And I said, okay. And so that's kind of how the book came. And I just wrote about my experiences since joining the church, kind of just about trials. How do you keep going when things are hard? How do you keep going when you feel like your prayers aren't being heard, or when you feel judged, or when you don't know if God's listening to you, or you're asked to do really hard things? And so it's that's what the book's about, laced in with my stories and experiences, but I try and make it about the reader. So it's not about me because no one cares about me.
You're just
not about me.
But it has to be your personal experiences are just that example. It's why I love this podcast, because nobody's lives are the same, but there's such a common thread because we're all here to kind of do the same thing, right?
That's kind of how I feel like everything got as big as they did. I've been writing. I don't know. I started a blog so long ago, so it didn't happen overnight, but yeah, I think it's just everyone has completely different experiences, but everyone feels the same exact way. Everyone has felt judged. Everyone has felt alone, and everyone has been mad at God. And so you just sort of teach and chime in on those emotions to connect with people.
Yeah, I can totally see where that would become something really big, because people do need that. I don't know. They just need to hear from somebody else. It's that whole, I don't know if you're a Brené Brown fan, how the comment, the most powerful words in the English language are me too. Like when you can connect with somebody and you have the same experiences or feelings.
I don't know. Maybe it's because of my New York culture. Like everyone is just open about everything.
Mm-hmm.
We're very blunt. If we don't like something, we're going to tell you. And if you're struggling, we'll probably tell you. And so coming into Utah culture where it's just the complete polar opposite, it just doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah.
And so I think it's part of my New York culture to just be open because like, why wouldn't it be? Like to think that people haven't felt that way, like that's just ludicrous. Like why would we think that? That's stupid.
It's so true. I feel like people are evolving to that place though, you know, like especially the LDS culture, the Utah culture. I feel like we're catching on that trying to admit that we don't feel those things or that we don't struggle is not actually getting us anywhere. And it's just, I don't know. I see change and maybe it's just because I've changed and the people around me are evolving, but I think it's getting better, and it's because of people like you who are brave enough to put it out there, people who are comfortable sharing their story, and then they're making it a little bit more acceptable for other people too. I mean, there's just so much of that happening. Yeah, hopefully.
No, I have no shame with my life. I'm like, if I suck at something, like, I don't care. Like, I'll tell you, whatever.
Hey, I will too, and I'm not going to be ashamed to tell you when I've learned something that can help you as well, you know? It goes both ways. Sometimes we hold back because we don't want people to think we're trying to be intimidating, but when you learn something, you just want to share it with the whole entire world. So, yeah. So how do you feel like all of your experiences, like changing, really like drastically changing cultures into such a conservative one from a very, very open and blunt one? How are you raising your kids? Like, how do you feel like the combination of the two?
That's a good question. I ask myself that every day. What am I doing with my life? That's a good question. Something that's really important to me that I thought of before my first was even born, something that I really wanted to put a lot of emphasis on to teach them is independence. Mm-hmm. I want them to be able to feel comfortable to figure things out on their own and to do it. And obviously ask for help. Like, that's important too. Yeah. But to just like figure out and be you and be comfortable and figure out all that stuff first. Because I'm really independent and that has just made things so much better for me in a lot of ways. Mm-hmm. So I hope that they get independence. I hope that they definitely find and stick to self-worth. Yeah. That's important.
I'm sure that they will. I feel like it's so tricky, isn't it, though? Like, you feel like, well, I'm going to give them every advantage that I wish I would have had or that I feel like I needed as a human, but there's still going to be, like, things that are going to throw you curveballs with whoever they turn out to be. And you barely have a tiny little inkling of who they are right now because they're so little. As my kids keep getting older, I'm like, oh, boy, okay, I can see our life 10 years from now. And I just want to hide under a rock for a little while. Oh, but it's so cool to be able to... When my husband and I kind of started this life of being entrepreneurs, we realized there were things that we had never even known growing up and even through college and through adult life that our kids are already going to know right out of the gate. And so I'm so excited to be able to like offer them more, and not even by way of opportunity or anything like that, just a different kind of way of thinking. And
yes.
Amen to that.
I just feel like life is so crazy and it's getting even crazier, but I feel like if they're comfortable with themselves and if they can feel like they're comfortable trying to figure things out, then they'll be well equipped with whatever comes their way. Hopefully.
Yeah. Cross our fingers.
I know if I'm not comfortable myself, like life is hard in probably about every aspect.
Yeah. That's really true.
That stinks. If I'm not, after my first pregnancy, I was so sick that entire pregnancy and I gained over 100 pounds.
What?
And it's kind of like, yes, it was, and I had never felt uncomfortable with myself until then. And it was hard. It was hard when you don't feel like yourself, when you don't feel comfortable as yourself, it affects everything.
Yeah.
And so, it's important. And that's not just like a beauty thing or how you look. But I mean, even as a guy, I see what my husband sometimes struggles with, like when he's not comfortable with himself, like he's not where he wants to be, in school or at work, or feel like, you know what I mean? You're just not measuring up to what you think you should be doing or should be whatever.
It affects everything that you kind of touch. It's like, it really is crazy because, and I'm speaking at a conference this weekend, and a lot of it is geared around like the way we think, and how every action we do, every action we take, every circumstance we find ourselves in starts with a thought. And so really, if your thoughts are like super negative and uncomfortable about yourself, or even like the situation you've gotten yourself into, of course, everything's going to perpetuate whatever those thoughts are. So that makes total sense. It all starts pretty close to inside ourselves and then goes from there. But so because of the fact that you have like a best-selling book and you're constantly speaking at every event in the entire world, it feels like, what was your dream for your life before you even wrote this book? Like what were your career goals, or what did you want to do with yourself?
That's a good question. I feel like my vision for myself is constantly changing, because before I got baptized, I never wanted to get married. I never wanted to have kids. And I was very like, oh, this is what I'm going to do with my life. Not that I was like actively against it. It's just my culture. You're raised and you're constantly asked, so what are you going to do with your life? What are you going to, what field you're going into? And so that was just my mindset. And then I got baptized, and then I understood family's different. And I wanted that. And I'm like, I do want to get married. And then I did. I mean, it didn't just happen. It was a really long process. It was a long process for me to get married in many, many years. And then I was terrified of kids. So I'm still working full time. I work full time for the church, the LDS church in downtown Salt Lake. And my husband, he is a full-time student. He does it online because we travel so much for me to speak. Mm-hmm. And so it's really an interesting dynamic for him to be home with the kids, and he's with them, and he has to do all of this schooling and testing while being with them. And then I'm at work all day, and then we come home and we're usually in the car traveling, and it's just a weird balance. I mean, we figured it out. We have a system.
You have a flow.
It's just interesting and completely swapped from, I think, what people expect or live. Yeah. So I don't know, my vision. So anyways, we had kids. And I'm still working, and I would love to not work one day, to be home with them. And I would love to be able to more fully focus on writing and more speaking and things because I love the church I'm a part of. I love it so much. And if I can do more of my ideas and have more time for that, that would be awesome. So hopefully in the future I can do that. But as of right now, it's just balancing between working full time and making sure you have a good balance of just hanging out with your family. Mm-hmm. I think that's just, man, between speaking and I travel a lot, and a lot of the time it's really cool places. I get to fly and be places I've never would have maybe gone to if it were any different, if I weren't speaking. But the more I do and the more busy I am, the more I crave and make time for family. And so I make trips as fast as I can. If I have to speak in a different state, I make them day trips, and I'm just there for a few hours just because I like hanging out with my husband, because I think he's really cool. And so more family time, that would be good. But I don't know. Every time I feel like I have a vision for myself, Heavenly Father, he just comes in and he's like, well, actually, what's going to happen instead?
You're a little too complacent.
I just stopped planning for myself and just decided to just embrace the unexpected, knowing who's guiding me. And if I feel good about it, I'm just going to do it. Yeah. And that's kind of made things a lot less stressful.
That's true. That's true. When you try and not have too much control, you don't feel out of control when you lose control, right?
Yeah. And I stopped. It's good to have goals. It's really good to have goals. I'm a big goal setter, but it's more important and more healthy for me to just let things go in a different direction if that's what they need to.
Yeah. Yeah. I think we can all benefit from trying to do a little bit more of that, because I mean, my year started out totally different than it's on its way now. We're not even at the end of January, and the plan I had for my year on January 1st is way different from January 31st.
I was supposed to be living in a different state right now. We were supposed to move, and that's not happening. And I announced it to the world a little prematurely.
I think I asked you about that. When are you moving to Arizona? So it's not happening now.
That's a good question. So hopefully it's still happening. It's Ben's schooling. We were going to go back out there for his master's. And so we were just going to go when it made sense, which is when our lease was up, because we're renting right now. And our lease was up last week, and we're still here, and we decided to wait until he graduates.
Nice.
We don't know what we're doing with our life.
I don't think life would be as fun if you knew everything that you were doing with your life. Like you just said, it's just fun to be along for the ride, especially because you guys are still in your 20s, right? Or maybe early 30s?
So I'm 28, yeah.
Okay.
And he's younger than me.
Okay. See, my husband and
He's
I,
just younger.
we look back on our 20s and we're just kind of, I'm barely out of my 20s. I'm only 31, but I just wouldn't do it again. There's so much learning and so many fun experiences, but it's just nice to get past the transitionary phases of like, oh, we're in college. Okay, now we're graduated. Now we're growing our family. And then your 30s, it's not like it's smooth sailing, but it's just a little bit more established on like your plan, a little bit more.
Yeah.
So you got to give yourself a couple more years till you feel like you actually have to be a responsible adult. That's what I'm saying. Ride the roller coaster as long as you can. It's going to be boring someday. But it sounds like it never will be boring for you because you're going to keep yourself busy and more writing is in the future. It sounds like. Have you always loved writing?
No. Not that I didn't love it, but I was never good at it and I never did it as a hobby. It wasn't until I had gotten baptized and these missionaries, I'm sure they very, very casually said, oh, we're told to keep a journal. And at that point, I took everything to like heart and I'm like, oh, we're supposed to write. Like, okay, I better figure it out. And I kind of started writing because I thought I had to, right? I thought it was like a life and death thing.
Like a commandment.
So, yes, I did. I thought journal keeping was just as important as going to church and not killing someone. And so I started writing and in my journals, and then it just sort of evolved. It was right after baptism. Someone on Facebook, I don't even know who they were. They asked me a question about the gospel, and I was having these reoccurring prayers of, how can I help? Like, what is it that you want me to be doing? And the idea, it just so like faintly came to me between this correlation with this girl, like, if this person has this question, I know someone else has this question too. So I'm just going to write about it online for other people to find if they need to. And then it just sort of evolved between journal and this blog idea. And it just, I don't know what happened. It just sort of snowballed. And now it's like a thing. And now I just... I don't know. My book is like a bestseller and too many people read my blog, which is cool not because I'm a good writer, but I do know that I'm honest.
Yeah.
And I do know that I write about things that people feel. And I feel like that outweighs my maybe not so great writing.
Oh my gosh. At this point, I'm sorry, but you cannot claim yourself as a not great writer when you have a best-selling book. You just can't.
Well, yeah, I don't know. It's just I feel like my ideas are better than like
what it translates out to be.
Ideas that carry, I think.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know.
No, I kind of, in a fraction of a way, understand what you're trying to say. It's kind of like why I did a podcast versus a really heavy written blog, because I feel like I can articulate it more just being able to speak it and purge it than like trying to find the perfect words.
Yeah.
So basically, you need a podcast.
I'm definitely better than what I used to be. Now I feel like it comes easy. I don't want to say I'm good at it, but it does come easy now because I do it so often.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
Whatever.
Well, I'm glad you started writing in that journal and thought it was pretty much like life or death situation, because now look how many people can learn from that and how many people are strengthened.
Same with speaking. One of my most frequently asked questions is, oh, how do you get into speaking? Like, I want to do that. And I'm like, I have no idea how it happened. It just happened, not because I didn't seek after speaking and I wasn't good at it. In college, I got straight A's except public speaking, and I flunked it completely and miserably. And now I speak several times a week, all over the country, and I've won multiple awards for speaking. And it's one of those things where I'm like, what the heck happened?
How did this happen?
Yeah, like, how did this happen? Like, I have no idea. It just evolves and it just, I don't know, becomes a thing.
Yeah, and I think it's cool how like it's really not I don't know, I'm sure your speaking has evolved because you've done it so much and practice makes perfect or better, but it's really not about like people who, for example, want to write a song. You don't just sit down to write a song because you want to write a song. You want to write a song because you have something to say. So your message is really the first place to start. Why do you want to be a public speaker? Like, what do you want to share? And I feel like if people establish that, the rest kind of happens.
That is a huge thing. So what people don't know about me is I am a marketing freak. Like, I went to school for marketing. I work full time for the church doing marketing. And there's a lot of things with my personal brand that I purposely do. Like, I don't think people realize how much thought goes into, strategy, like the behind the scenes strategy. And there's lots of things that I don't do on purpose because I don't want it to affect my message. And so I know there's things that I can be doing, but I don't, because I want my message to be more important than, some social analytics stuff. Yeah. But I go around and I talk at a lot of colleges and a lot of groups on social marketing. And one of my most popular ones are how to grow your following organically, like not spending any money. And one of the biggest things that I teach that I learned is passion will override any lack of skill that you may think you have. If you are passionate about something, you will be successful and you will make things happen, because I am so completely passionate about God and about finding him and what he can do for your life, that passion is what led me to the life that I am now. Not because I was a good speaker, not because I was a good writer, but because I loved it. And if you have passion, you will figure things out and it will blossom into something electrifying. And that has been really cool to see yourself doing things you never thought you could do.
Wow. I love that. I love that. See, I knew there was a reason I liked you even before I met you. Because I totally agree with that. I feel like you can sum up right there exactly what I've been trying to share with people for the last year plus of my life. Like, people who come to me and I'm trying to like ignite that fire and I'm trying to get them excited and help them realize their potential, and they're like, oh, but I can't do that because I don't have that skill you have, or I can't do that because of this and this and this. I'm like, I don't care.
Okay. Yes, you can. You can figure it out.
Yeah.
You can do it. And it's going to be really good.
Yeah, if you want to, and if you're super excited and pumped about it, like, that's why I use exclamation marks all the time, because I'm usually pretty excited about what I'm doing. And that passion really has led to success. Like, you can't deny that. Like, it might not be the success you even planned. Like, I had no idea where I'd be a year ago. I had no idea I'd be doing what I'm doing now. I had kind of a general plan, but no clue where it would lead to. And yeah, it's all that passion. It totally does.
But that's exciting.
Yeah.
I feel like people don't realize how exciting it is. It's exciting to do something that you love doing, because if we're not doing what makes us happy, we are missing the point. Like, why not? Like, why aren't we doing those things? Like, even if you believe in God or not, it doesn't change the fact that he is there and he will help you. Like, be happy. Be happy even in hard and trying times. Like, I don't know. Like, sometimes I just want to shake people and be like, you guys, like, what are you doing? Like, why aren't you doing these things? Like, you can figure it out if you just do it.
Yeah. Yeah, we could be speaking on the same mountaintop to the same people, because I feel the exact same way.
You guys, just do it.
Just do it.
It's fine. Even if you guys, I feel like when people meet me, their biggest takeaway is, wow, that girl's awkward. Or like, I hear so often like, hey, like, she's pretty normal. And I'm like, well, derp, like, I'm not any different than anyone else. I'm just as awkward and just as unqualified as anyone else. But like, you just let that passion and your happiness take you places, and, embrace the unexpected and allow things to unfold differently than what you have in mind. And you'll see that those things are even better than what you had in mind.
Amen.
Anyways.
This is such a good tangent that we could just go on and on and on forever. It's so true. I love it so much. I really do. Those are the feelings that we just have a hard time summing up, that we're just like, come on, drink the Kool-Aid. I love what you said too, that you're just normal and you're awkward and you're all those things just like everybody else. And like, in a totally different way, I think for me, when it finally clicked, I was telling somebody this the other day of what I could truly achieve. It was when I had a friend who was no different than me. I mean, obviously we're different people, but same age range, same like family life, same everything. And I was like, hey, if she can do it, there's no reason I can't do it.
Why not me?
Yeah, exactly.
But seriously, that's a good question to ask. Like, why not me?
Yeah, really. Why would God want them to
Why
be
not?
more successful or more happy than me? He doesn't. He wants that for all of us. And like we should want that for ourselves, every single one of us. And there's no reason that because that person's successful, there's less success for us or there's less joy for us, because there's plenty of it to go around for everybody. Yeah. You're so fun to chat with, Al.
Hey, thanks. What?
Especially when the computer falls. Yeah, I did.
I've been playing with my shoelaces, so I just realized like you've been looking at the top of my head for like 20 minutes.
It's fine. I've been able to see all the best parts. What is something that you would say to like your past self, knowing now what you know? I mean, maybe that's a dumb question because you would probably say everything that we had just talked about.
No, I would. Oh, I think this all the time. I wish I can go back to my younger self and just take me by the shoulders, and I just want to shake myself and be like, stop worrying, or don't cry as much. Like, everything will be okay. Your life turns out awesome. And it's not because things get easier. No, it's not. Life is hard. Life is really hard, but we find what we look for. And if we look for the good, and if we look for the opportunity and the blessings, like happiness, you can still be happy when things are really hard and trying. I mean, my life is hard. I think people see me and they see me as someone who's happy all the time. And generally, about 95% of the time, I probably am happy all the time, but it has nothing to do with an ease of life. Mm-hmm. And it has nothing to do with, I don't know. It's just,
you're not immune from struggle.
No, it's not. Life is hard. I've gone through, anyone who's read my book, they'll realize that my life sucks sometimes. Life is really hard. I've lost a lot of really important people in my life, and I have screamed at God until I lost my voice too many times to count, because it's hard, because I don't understand things, because I'm wondering where he is and why it needs to be me. And I still have those moments. Like, I still yell at God, but it's because I feel like things should be going differently. Not because someone told me they need to be, but because I made it up in my head that way. Mm-hmm. I think of all those times where things are really hard, and they're all when they're not going how I want them to go. Mm-hmm. Something that's really important to me didn't work out. That's hard. Mm-hmm. But it was hard because I wanted it to go differently. Someone passed away, and that's hard, but it's because I didn't want them to die. Right. All these things that are so hard, it's because they're not going the way that I wanted them to. And it's just, I've spent too much time crying. I've spent too much time stressing that you just get tired of it. You ever go through a struggle mm-hmm. and you realize, I'm tired of being upset. I'm tired of feeling alone. I'm tired of feeling like, I'm not good enough, or that I'm not, pretty enough, or that I'm not, whatever.
You get tired of hearing yourself talk after a while.
You just get over it. And
yeah.
I realized all those times, I spent too much time yelling at God, hoping that things were different. And it's what a waste, because things have always been greater than what I ever could have imagined. So I wish that I could just tell my younger self to just knock it off and just relax. Just relax and chill out a little bit. Laugh a lot more, because life is really incredible still.
I love that so much. I feel like we can all tell ourselves, like, the yesterday version of ourselves that, we need to be reminded of that every single day.
Yeah. And, yesterday was a crappy day for me. I had a bad day yesterday. And even now, just nothing changed. Like, the situation didn't go away. But even now, just tell myself from yesterday, be like, you know what? Just relax. Like, you're alive.
Yeah.
It's fine.
Yeah. A little bit more perspective, a little bit more sleep, and you can look at it with a fresh set of eyes, right?
Definitely sleep and a lot of food. Just kidding.
A lot of really good food. Yeah. I'm with you there. Okay. So I ask all my moms here on the podcast, what makes you a marvelous mom? So if you had to answer that, which you do.
My bad jokes.
Your bad jokes?
I get along so well with my 2-year-old, but it's because I think she's funny, and I think she thinks I'm funny, and then we just laugh, and I think that's pretty cool.
That is really cool.
I genuinely think that she's funny, and I like watching her, and I like hanging out with her because she's so funny, and I think I like being around her because she's the only one that laughs at me, and so it makes me feel better. Just kidding.
I highly doubt she's the only one who laughs at you.
Yeah, I don't know. Just laugh a lot more.
I love that. I feel like laughter is such a universal language and a universal connection. So even before they can talk really, really well, it's weird. I remember my kids, all three of them, when they were really young, before they could even like have full conversations. It was such a cool thing when I was like, oh, they really get it. Like, they get me. They're my kid. They get me, and I get them, and we don't even have to speak. It's just so fun. You're totally in the same like space. So that's really cool.
Yeah.
I get it.
Yeah, being a mom rules. Man, I never even held a baby until it was my own. I was so freaky about kids because I was never around them growing up. And so it was just completely foreign to me. And so when you have your own, and especially having two, it's so fun to see, even though you're not doing anything different, just to see how different they are and how cool that is, and to pick up on different things, like you were saying, that are just kind of within like your family still, and within like your personalities. And I don't know, it's just been being a mom, man, it's cool.
It's the best.
It's so much better than what I thought.
It's so great to feel that way, isn't it? Instead of like, oh, I knew this was going to be awful.
No, I love being a mom, and I'm so glad that I have two really good, so far good kids, because I was not a good kid. I was a rascal.
So are you guys planning on
not raising me, because I sucked?
Well, you never know.
I'm half kidding, actually. I know, that's what I'm saying. I hope I didn't just jinx it. For now, they're good.
For now, yeah. So what are your plans? You guys gonna have a big family? Are you good with the two?
Oh, no big family. We are both so good with the two. If we do have a third, maybe. But two is a really great number.
Yeah, and you got a boy and a girl. You've got a mini you and a mini him. So, I mean, you can't go wrong. Or maybe it's backwards, maybe your son's going to be more like you and your daughter more like your husband.
Christian, he looks like me, acts like Ben so far. Gracie looks just like her dad, but acts too much like me. It's kind of scary. So get a little bit of each. I mean, it's cool to have one of each. We would have been happy having two girls because we had so much crap that was girls that we wouldn't have to buy anything else.
That's true.
But having a boy's good too.
At least you started with the girl, because they do require more stuff, and I feel like a boy is a little less of a drastic change. She really helps
out a lot too. She'll be like, "Baby, here's the bottle."
That's awesome. It's so fun to have a girl first for that reason.
Yes, she is a good helper.
That's awesome. Well, thanks for taking time out of your busy, exciting, happy life to share a little piece of yourself with us. It's been so fun to chat with you. We need to do it again.
What I just yelled about.
Oh my gosh.
Sorry for everyone listening. I don't know what I just said.
It was all good stuff.
You're welcome.
You're welcome for that.
I don't know what I'm doing with my life. Yeah, you're welcome. You guys owe me big time.
Go buy Al's book as payment for this interview.
Hey, yeah, you guys should go buy my book.
I'm sad I missed you at your book signing here in St. George, because you were there with Hank, who is my seminary teacher.
Yeah, okay, I love Hank. That was a crazy day. You should be glad you didn't go, because it was just long. Everything about it was long. I was there for a really long time. You had to wait in a really long line, and it was fine, but I wouldn't wait for me. That's stupid.
My gosh. Well, I did call and I asked how long the line was, and they're like, it's pretty long. And I'm like, well.
Our 1.5-hour book signing was like a 4.5-hour shindig.
You kind of expect that, though, right? You have to know.
Yeah.
You have to know people think you guys are pretty cool. I mean.
Debatable. I'm like decent at most.
No. Lines don't go that long for decent people. They go that long for cool people. So
it's because they don't know any better, and then they meet me in person, and you're like, oh, you know what? She is awkward, and her jokes aren't funny. Why? Unfollow.
I've been laughing this whole time, so you better stop that right now.
I aspire to be as funny as my dad or Ben. Okay, what people don't realize, because they see me and they see my personality, that they feel like I'm the dominant one in our relationship. And that is not the case. Ben is the funniest person that I had ever met. And I wish people, oh, you guys, he's so much cooler than I am. I wish he would speak and people would line up to meet him because he's way cooler than I'll ever be.
He's your inspiration then, right?
I like that guy. I like hanging out with him.
It shows, and I'm glad you do. You deserve it.
We're writing a book. It's coming out this year. We wrote a book together. It's been kind of crazy to do something like that with your spouse, to work on something like that.
Yeah.
But
I can't wait to read it. You'll have to send me a copy before everybody else gets it.
Okay, yeah, I will.
VIP privileges. I've earned it, right?
Yeah. Yes.
Absolutely. That's so cool. Well, it sounds like you're going to get your wish. Like maybe you guys will go on a speaking circuit together and you will get to hear him speak all the time.
Oh, I would love that. He's a good speaker.
It sounds really fun. Sounds really fun.
Yeah.
All right, Al, thanks for being here again. And for the rest of you guys listening, have a great day and we'll see you on the next episode.
Like keep trying to say bye.
No, I don't want to say bye.
Okay, this is it, you guys. We're really stopping. We're hanging
Peace
up now.
out.